Okay, so hey people, hey happy people, how are you? How are you? How are you? So apparently it's been a long time since I've gone live on Facebook, certainly from my laptop, because I tried doing this from my laptop and it was like I was in a whole different world. It was like I was in a completely different world. Usually it's been years actually since I went live on the native Facebook app. And so it required just a bit of, in fact, I just abandoned it after a while because I was like, this thing says it's getting me live, but it hasn't yet. Anyway, hey, how are you? How are you? If you're seeing me here, definitely say something so that I know that I'm not alone. Hey there. Say hello so that I can say hi back. I'm gonna quickly just let my team know to send an email reminder. Hey, how are you? Okay, so tonight I actually don't want to, have people having to like scroll for a while to find the actual meat of this. Tonight I want to talk about something that I find really fun, which is the journey toward multiple streams of income. So, bit of a backstory here. When Anna reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to take over the group, what she said to me, she was like, yeah, you are multiple stream of income queen anyway, right? And I kind of chuckled because yes, we do go way back. As a matter of fact, even just last night, I was talking with I kind of looked through this group. Hey there, who just joined us? Just type something in the chat so that way I can see who's here. I happened to just kind of scroll through last night, and I was just looking just to find out because I looked up kind of when I first had the idea to launch a podcast, and I actually posted about that on this Facebook group. It was June 2019, so we're talking almost 6 years now that I thought of launching a podcast. At that point, we were already doing real estate. Now, I'm just giving people time to hop on because really, what I want to talk about this evening is about how to get started with your additional streams of income as a physician. Okay, so a few years ago, now it's about 10 years now because I was expecting my first daughter then, and she's now 10 years old. I was home alone. My husband was out of town. He had gone to Germany, and I was home alone watching TV when I saw Tarek and Christina, who were doing Flip or Flop at the time. They basically turned a flip, right? They turned a worn down house into something beautiful, and they made $60,000 in one deal. Now, at the time I was a resident, I was making $54,000 a year. And I was like, wait a minute, whatever they just did just surpassed my annual salary. I need to go see what they were doing. Before that point, I was already sort of thinking about the possibility that, you know what, there has to be more. I had this kind of itch that like, there has to be more than medicine. I was seeing my attendings then. I saw that some attendings, when it came to handing out cash for our dinner as residents, they will give you like, just order anything. What do you want to order? Order for everybody. And then there were some who were like, well, the wife shouldn't hear that I'm giving you more than this. And then he give you like $10 or $20. And I was like, interesting. So clearly in my mind, doctors were rich, right? But then I realized that there were different levels of rich, right? There were some rich that could hand out money like that. And there was a rich that was like, let's still manage what we had. And subconsciously, I kind of said to myself, you know what? I want to be the other guys. I want to be the other person that kind of has it to just like dole out like that. So I was already kind of looking for additional streams of income before it really became like a thing that you kind of heard about online and all of that. Anyway, so that was the initiation of the journey. But up to that point, all I knew was medicine, okay? All I knew was medicine, and all I knew was was clinical stuff, right? I didn't know how to do anything. I didn't know real estate. I didn't, at that point, I basically just didn't know anything outside of medicine. And so the question then became, okay, so how do you now go from how do you go from I want to do this to we're doing this to now we're even helping other people do this? And that's the journey that I want to take you all on this evening. Oh, there they are. For some reason, I wasn't seeing the comments on the actual live stream. I had to come all the way to Facebook. Hey, Alera. Hey, Cass, how are you? All right, so I think I'm going to just I will keep my screen open so that I can see your comments. So that way I can actually comment on your comments. Okay, so now, fast forward a few years now, we have now done, I mean, sometimes I laugh at myself because, truth be told, if there is a side gig there, I have probably looked at it. I may have done it already. I may or may not already have like the trophies and scrapes maybe sometimes to even, to go with it. Or I know someone that has done it so well. So tonight, what I really want to do, this evening is to like basically share with you how I have gone about, picking income streams, deciding on if it's worth my time, some scrapes that I may have gotten along the way. And feel free to ask any questions as they come up, because as I go through, okay, questions may pop in your head. Just feel free to post them in. I don't have any slides, prepared. I really want this to be like an actual conversation that you all can hopefully benefit from. Okay, so this journey, like I said, began with real estate. Okay, so after that initial like aha moment of like, what did they just do to make $60,000 in one flip? I went down a rabbit hole, like a real estate rabbit hole, okay? And for the next year and a half, I would actually spend time, on the forum. So I basically went out and I found real estate forums, and I was on there all the time. I wasn't on Facebook much that year. I think the year was 2014, 2015. I wasn't on Facebook that much because I just wanted to learn about real estate. Now, from that point, I ended up doing my very first deal in 2016. Okay, so we went from 2014 when the idea first came to 2016 actually getting the first deal done. Okay, if there is one lesson that I want you to know as you're doing all of this, is that these things take time. Okay, don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted at all. These things take time. And yes, every now and then there will be outliers. There will be people who will like start and in a matter of weeks, they're like up to the races. Yes, they exist. But I want to let you know that for the most part, for you to build something solid, you need to be ready for it to take some time. And if there is one filter that I would teach you actually as we get started, it is one of the filters that I now ask myself is, listen, if this takes you 4 years to do properly, will it be worth your while? Okay? That is the first filter that I want to teach you this evening, okay? Because if you ask yourself that question, right? And the answer is heck no, I want to spend 4 years of my life doing this, then maybe you don't want to do it. Maybe it's not worth your while to start, right? So if the first question is, if this takes me 4 years to get good at, would it be worth my while? Okay, so that's the first question. Okay, so we began with real estate. So we first of all started out with like a flip. I may need a hair tie here, guys. The first deal was a flip. Okay, basically kind of like we were seeing on TV. And we bought this property. It ended up being all the way down in Norfolk, Virginia, while we were in Brooklyn, New York. Yes, about 300 or, I don't know, 500, 1,000 miles away. I don't even know. And I didn't have the money, but I was able to figure it out. I was able to get like hard money loans. My dad had some cash on him, so he kind of, helped me out on that deal. Now, it was in Norfolk where my family lived at the time. And so he ended up being like my boots on the ground person while I did all the learning and deal structuring and all of that. Well, it turned out that deal did not turn out like it was on TV. Okay. We actually lost $10,000 in that deal. I remember I told you I didn't have the cash to even start. So where did the 10K come from? I had credit cards. So like it didn't work out like TV, that first deal. Now, when that first deal didn't work out, I was like, yo, man, I don't have money to just be throwing around like this. I actually have to get judicious with my use of capital. So I decided that I was going to go on to buying multi-family properties, okay? And I'm sharing you this timeline just to paint you a picture so that I can bring out the different teaching points that came out at different points, so that as you're thinking about your next income stream, you can kind of hopefully learn a thing or two from the things that I'm going to be telling you about and make your decisions. Now, I went on to now do a multi-family syndication. Now, I had never, up to that point, I never owned rental property. My first real estate deal was a flip, okay, a renovation deal. So we ended up buying a rental property, but this time we bought a 12-unit apartment complex. Remember, I didn't have money still. So what I did, because I didn't have money, I went for a bigger deal than I would normally have gone for myself, so that way I could get other people involved and use other people's money to effectively get this deal done. So we got that deal done. I got 5 investors. They put down what was the down payment. I was able to get the loan for the property. I structured the deal in such a way that they didn't have to put any personal guarantees. We were the personal guarantors of that deal because I didn't have any money in it. So, I figured it was my responsibility to make sure that the deal, went well. Hey, Victoria, how are you? So that was the second real estate deal. Now, after we did that JV syndication type deal, my husband was like, my thought was, oh, you know what? Let's go get 2,000 units in the next couple of weeks and next couple of months, and let's go. My husband was like, no. It was like, no. He didn't want anything to do with other people's money. He didn't, he didn't want the pressure of having to manage other people's money. And I was like, all right, fine. It actually worked out very well. Don't worry about it, right? So between me and him, right, like I am very much like, let's go. And he's very much like, okay, come back down to earth. Let's think this through. Like, he's like, between the two of us, we can drive a good car, all right? One person accelerator, the other person sort of like brakes and safety. Okay, so that then took us now at this point, I was now an attending. So I began my real estate journey during residency. That first deal was just at the start of fellowship. Now I was an attending, and he said, you know what, let's just do our real estate deals to the extent that we can do them ourselves. I'm like, all right, fine. I'm attending now. We had additional capital, blah, blah, blah. So we ended up buying 2 small, duplexes up here in Syracuse. And we got 2 of them on the same day because I just couldn't do one. But that began our journey with small multifamily deals in real estate still. So for those, we will buy them needing work. We'll fix them up, and then we will rent them out and effectively do it again. It's called the BRRRR strategy. So if you're thinking of doing real estate, that is one strategy that you come across a lot. It's usually something that, particularly if you don't have a ton of cash just lying around, it's a nice way to get in the game because you can effectively buy a property that needs work, fix it up, raise the value, and then by raising the value, you can now refinance it and get all the money that you put in out and do it over and over again. So I ended up doing this over and over again. We got a handful of properties and basically recycled funds all the way up into 2020 when we bought the last long-term rental. Now, while all of this was happening, it was a very straightforward process. I had learned this being on the forums, and it was a very, I wouldn't call it boring, but it just took time, right? You buy the property and it's time to fix up. So I basically now had an extra itch to find something new, right? So what did I try? Or should I say, what did I not try? Okay. Fulfillment by Amazon, FBA, right? I sold on Amazon. I got stuff from China. I did all of that. What else did I do? I don't even know. I've tried my hand on so many things at this point. But as all of that was happening, one thing that I noticed was that my real estate portfolio was just steadily and quietly growing. And I said to myself, this thing that I sort of almost put to the side is actually just growing steadily. And when the pandemic hit, right? When everybody just didn't know where head and tail was, I found out that our portfolio had grown just quietly and steadily over time to the point that like on a monthly basis, good amount of money was coming in. And I said, okay, yes, you can send a text, Victoria. Yeah, you can send a text. Actually, no, don't send a text. Sorry. Yeah, so, sorry, that's Victoria asking if she sent a text. And so I was like, you know what, let me actually like really double down on telling people about what we're doing. Now, as I began to talk to doctors back then, I found out that a lot of people were looking for ways to basically quit medicine, like stat, right? Now, at this point, I had begun teaching people how to invest in real estate, how to invest in rental property, and the coaching program was now starting to grow. When the pandemic hit, even just talking to people, I was starting to see more and more what the need actually was. I was starting to see more and more what the need was. And I said, you know, people need something that can make them money now. Okay, because with real estate, with traditional real estate investing, is generally for money later as against money now. Okay, I mean, there's cash flow, but for the most part, a lot of people are really just sort of like building for like long-term wealth. At least that should be your mindset, honestly. You will get some money now, but if you think about it from a long-term investment perspective, you will actually write out things. And so I said, okay, people need meaningful income now. What is the strategy that people can use? Now, in my mind, it was real estate, right? So I had to go find something in real estate that could help them achieve that. And that was when I went to short-term rentals. Okay. Again, I'm sharing this journey not to give you like a long-winded sort of like through the rigmarole or whatever, but to really paint a picture of what the journey has been like. Because when you see people come on stage, when you see people come on Facebook Lives, when you see people come and share things, sometimes the journey is lost on you. Like the things that they have done. The scrapes that they have gotten, the beatings, sometimes those are lost in the lights. They are lost in the, in the clips and in the stories. But in 2020, the need was real, right? I saw very much so that people needed to find something that gave them money now. Okay. And that was when I found what's called rental arbitrage. So rental arbitrage is basically where you you basically go to a landlord, okay, rent their property, and then you go to a landlord, rent their property, and then you turn it into an Airbnb, into a short-term rental, okay? Now, when I did this, when I first got the inspiration, should I say, to do this, it was March. My baby at the time was 1 month old. Okay. By June, so 3 months later, I had gotten 10 of these rentals, 10 of these. Okay. And when I saw my revenue on Airbnb that month of June, I was like, holy cow. What just happened? I had never seen that much money in all my years of investing in rental property in 1 month. And I said, everybody needs to hear about this because too many people out there are looking for ways to make money and they are not seeing this. They need to see it like stat. So I started talking about it. I started talking about it everywhere. And I said, you know what? I'm going to host an event. And so that year I hosted the first short-term revolution conference. We had over 1,500 doctors registered for it. It was amazing. We had about 20 speakers. It was amazing. We got people talking about it. But as I interviewed the speakers, I found out that even though rental arbitrage was great, rental arbitrage was this method that, you could basically get in fast, there was an even bigger pie that I had ignored because I didn't realize that I could do it. And that bigger pie was with actually buying and owning the asset. Now, with my coaching business, I had already learned how to sell. And I had learned how to generate cash almost on demand. It's not on demand, but it's almost on demand, right? So I knew that at that point, I didn't need to continue to try to build capital with rental arbitrage. I could really focus on acquiring assets, like long-term assets, generational wealth type assets, now that I actually knew how to do it. Now, what was the piece I was missing before then? Before that period, I did not know that you could buy a short-term rental with just 10% down. Before then, I thought that just like with every other rental property, you had to put down 25%. So in my mind, I was saying to myself, well, I don't have 25% to put down for a luxury lakefront property. It didn't even cross my mind to think that I could possibly afford a beachfront property. But when I did the math, it was like, holy smokes. If I spent the same amount of money, I could either spend that money and buy an inner city duplex for the same $40,000 down, which is what it would require, because inner city duplexes out here in Syracuse then were like $160,000. To buy that, I'd have had to put down $40,000. Or I could use the same $40,000 and buy a short-term rental or a vacation home, a second home with the same $40,000. And that's when I said, wait a minute. This, ignorance, not knowing is such an expensive thing, right? So I totally missed out on the first 3 years, on, the prior 3 years that I could have been doing, just because I didn't know that it was something that was accessible to me. In any case, after I learned that I could do it for 10% down, I was off to the races, and I started buying, luxury lakefront properties. Now, I focus on lakefront because that's what we have around here. But with that, also began teaching folks how to do that as well. Okay, so where are we now? We are now in short-term rental zone. Now, the next piece that I hadn't known before that was I did not know of the tax advantages of buying a short-term rental. I did not know that when you buy a short-term rental, that in your first year, you could effectively save the equivalent of somewhere close to your down payment in the form of tax savings. I didn't know that. That first year when we bought our first lake house, when we filed our taxes, we got back, I believe it was about $28,000 as a tax refund. Hadn't gotten tax refunds in God knows how many years before that. Okay. So we now so now we've gone from flipping houses to buying rental property to direct sales, like MLM type direct sales. I did Young Living. I did Neora. We've done FBA, fulfillment by Amazon, which is basically how you sell products from China on Amazon. Yep, I did that. I've done a little bit of drop shipping. I did that for maybe a week or two, and then I dropped it. What else have I done? Okay, and so basically and then of course, the most of my different things that I had tried, like I said, the rate has definitely been very steady. But one other thing that I also came across in the process of my journey through income streams was affiliate marketing. Okay. So affiliate marketing is one of those things that people don't talk about that much, but you see it everywhere. It's everywhere. Okay. So affiliate marketing is basically that thing where, somebody has a product, like I have a course, I have an event coming up on Saturday, for example, right? And I give you a link. Okay, a unique link, and that link is for you alone. That anybody who buys my product or who signs up for my event using your link, you get a portion of that payment, a commission, something, right? Now, it's the same underlying sort of thing that happens with different direct sales companies, but it has a different wrap because it's not MLM at all, right? But in 2023, end of 2023, I had an opportunity to sign up for a program. And that year we had rehabs going on that were taking so much money. And I was like, listen, I need to generate capital somehow, right? So this guy was having an event, and he offered us affiliate links. And I was like, you know what? I actually like what you're doing. I think it'd actually be very helpful to people. So I promoted this guy's events to my email list, and we got 30 people to sign up for his program. As a result, when I tallied my revenue from that promo, I made $30,000. Okay. Now, some people make their entire business model affiliate marketing. As a matter of fact, I may even have a course somewhere about it. It's somewhere in my course stash. But I mentioned affiliate marketing because it is literally an income stream that you could, hey Nam, how are you? That you could tap into and be in business tonight. Okay? Tonight. Because with affiliate marketing, you don't need a product. Like, you don't need to create something. You don't need to create your own product. You don't need to, like, I could literally give you a link tonight and you share it on your social media or whatever, and somebody you don't even know may click on it and may choose to buy it, and you just make money like that. Right? Now, there are definitely more active ways of doing affiliate marketing. Don't get it twisted. Like, to make the 30K that I made in that one that I described, I actually worked for that one. Okay. Like I worked it hard. Okay. But sometimes affiliate, like the things that I have affiliate links on, I've got a random email saying, oh, this person just bought this thing with your affiliate link. And I'm like, oh, great. $118 for like high level or something, right? So affiliate marketing, we've done that. But the next thing, so I've kind of walked you through the different things that I've done at different times, obviously coaching. So the ones that I would say up to this point have been significant revenue for me. And the word is significant revenue. Number one, of course, is real estate, right? Right? Like real estate. Okay. We've done long-term rentals. We've held them for years. We've sold them. We've sold a couple of them. We're still selling a couple of them even right now. Short-term rentals, clearly. I'm not going to give you my numbers for last year because this is going to be, completely public. But short-term rentals make you money. Hands down. It makes you money on cash flow, makes you money on appreciation. You own an amazing asset that even you and your family can use. Hands down, I still love it when it comes to real estate. Number 3 will be coaching. Okay. Don't sleep on coaching. If you have a skill, something that people look at you and they go, how'd you do that again? Right? Then you may have something that people will want to actually learn from you and pay you to teach them. Okay? So like if you're sitting here thinking, well, I don't even know what my next income stream can be. I am just, no. You're not just. There's probably something that you do that someone will want to learn from you. Now, if you're here and thinking, okay, well, I think I want to do X. Type it in the chat, by the way. I think I want to do X. Just type it in the chat. And I either know someone who is doing it or can point you to a resource or some. Just type in the chat what you think you want to do regarding income streams, and I'll tell you. I'll give you a resource. Okay. Now, if you're thinking about coaching as a possible option for you, right? Then one of the things you probably need is all the tech stuff at the back end, right? So the email list, the whole platform stuff. This weekend. And I don't know, is Victoria still here? I'm not sure. This weekend, I'm going to be hosting a session. Let me just put it in the chat. SavvyDocEvents.com/backend in a weekend. Okay. So this is to basically help people get that back end set up. So that way, that's not an excuse anymore for not actually showing up in your brilliance. Because that is an income stream that you can literally open shop this evening. And I'll tell you how mine began in a little while. But with all of the things that are out there, and I'm not even sure how long we've been going now, with all the things that are out there, how do you actually decide on what you will actually do? Okay? How do you actually decide on which of them to pick? Number 1, I need to call this guy. This may sound very cliche, but the first thing you actually want to think about is what your goal is. Okay? Don't be fooled into thinking that everybody here has the same goals. No. We may all be physicians, right? We may all be doctors, yes. We may all be, within the same general age range for the most part. Like there's like a median, a mean or whatever for the most part. But don't be fooled into thinking that we all have the same goals. So the first thing you have to decide is what exactly is your goal. And when I say your goal, I don't mean like a pie in the sky type, like lofty thing, like, oh, I want to save the children. No, I mean, okay, if this thing works out, like, what do I really want this to help me do? Like right now, I'm working on something. And the reason I'm working on it right now is because I want it to be a baseline that I have coming in on a monthly basis. Okay. Now, the thing that I'm working on, I know it can be huge. okay? But my immediate goal with this thing is not even the huge part right now. My immediate goal is just to establish a cash flow baseline so that whether or not I have launches or have any like fancy things happening, I just have a steady, floor with my so-called passive income. I don't use the word passive income because the amount of work you have to put in to generate passive income is enormous. So I don't even think passive is a good word. It's more like seed, like planting. Like no farmer goes and harvests his crops and thinks, oh my gosh, that was some passive income. But guess what? Once he planted it, it kind of is passive if you really think about it. But the planting has to happen, right? Okay, so you need to establish what your goal is. Like, are you doing this so that you can pay for gymnastics class? Are you doing this so that you can have a place you get away? Are you doing this because you want to leave your 9 to 5? And for each of these goals, you need to also be asking yourself, am I ready to do what it takes to get to this point? Because sometimes you may look at it and be like, yeah, I don't know if I want to do all that. I don't know if I want to do all that, right? And you know what? To thine own self be true. To thine own self be absolutely true. But don't get it twisted. As you think about these goals, okay, to thine own self be true, but also know that, your decisions have consequences, right? Like they have implications. Okay, so number 1 is the goal. Number 2 is what current skills do you have? Okay? So one of the easiest ways to open up your next income stream is to use the skills you legitimately already have. Okay, so this means if you're saying, for example, this is like, I'm a doctor, I'm an anesthesiologist. Like, how can I create income using anesthesia right now? Number 1 will be maybe doing locums, maybe picking up a per diem shift or something during my vacation. I don't want to do that. I have no desire to do that. But for someone, that may be a way to generate additional income. Okay. Can you do locums? Can you change jobs? I don't know how many people just like ignore this one because they're comfortable. And this was me, okay? Because up until 2 years ago, I was very happy where I was. I didn't think anything was wrong with the place. I liked it. I mean, every now and then you get annoyed by a surgeon or a colleague or something, but it wasn't anything crazy, okay? But somehow Anita rose and I was like, holy smokes. Like, I looked around and I realized that just 30 minutes down the hall, down the hall, 30 minutes down the road, they were paying $200,000 more than where I was. Same city. I'm talking about 30 minutes. I actually forgot to even say, literally the building adjoining our hospital, like same block, same city block. Like we literally transport kids into that hospital. They were paying $20,000 more than where I was. Okay. Now, obviously, when I saw this, I couldn't be mad at them, right? This is not to be mad at the hospital. This is about yourself. Okay. But I up and moved. Okay. So if you want your next income stream, your next income stream could very well just be finding a new job, boo. Yes. It's a little uncomfortable. Like the new place that I'm at right now, I drive 30 minutes and okay, for people in Texas, 30 minutes is nothing. Okay. But for us in Syracuse, 30 minutes is like traveling. Okay. It's like going out of town, 30 minutes. My job used to be 10 minutes from home. So literally I wake up in the morning, I roll out of bed, take a shower, do my devotion, and I get to work in 10 minutes, sometimes 7 minutes. So this upgrade to 30 minutes was like a whole thing of discomfort for me. Okay. But I'm saying, if you're looking for your next income stream, start by looking where you are right now and asking yourself, have I maxed out what I already have? In other words, is this the highest that I can make from this job? And if the answer is no, then ask yourself, what am I doing here? I'm not saying everybody should leave their job, but I'm just saying, ask the question, what is it that's keeping me here? If it's not money, what is it that's keeping me here? For some of you, it's that, you have kids, they're in school and all of that. Well, that's fine. But make sure you've maxed out the one you already have in your hand or at least max out the consideration of it before you start going into other things. Okay, so current skills. Number 3 is, what are you willing to learn, right? Because, there are some things that are very lucrative, but you look at it and you're like, I don't feel like learning that. And honestly, your attitude should not be, I don't feel like learning that, because everything is learnable. Okay. Anybody who knows me, okay, Alera was here. I don't know if she's still here now, but she knew me at Howard, right? I was not the person on the screen. People who knew me in my before life knew me as the quiet one that you never heard anything about. Right? So coming up and, doing a Facebook Live, completely new, introverted introvert. Okay, well, I was kind of introvert that I could speak on stages, but I couldn't talk to you. I wouldn't talk to you, but I would speak on the stage. Okay. But it's all learnable. Like how to go live. Like before this session, I literally made my notes so that I'm not just, freestyling. But everything is learnable. How to go live, how to sell, how to communicate, how to write copy that makes people buy, how to get people to show up on the live stream on a Thursday evening. All learnable. All learnable. But guess what? You're going to suck the first time you do it. But you have to do it first before you can get to your 10th, 15th, 100th time. Okay? So your attitude should be that you want to learn, but you also need to ask yourself, like, what do I actually want to learn? Right? Number 4. So we're talking about how to pick your next income stream. And I already sort of talked about this briefly earlier. And it was the question of longevity. Okay? How long am I willing to do this? For some things, you may say, you know what? I just want to do this for the next 3 months and just kind of see if I like it. And that's okay. But for you to really get good at some things, give yourself 4 years. It's like residency, right? Give yourself at least 4 years. Somewhere around the 4-year mark, you will start getting good at it. Somewhere around there, right? So really asking yourself, how long do I want to commit to doing this? To know if it's actually, if this took me 4 years to learn, will it have been worth my while? And that brings me back now to the returns of it, okay? Because one of the early side gigs that I worked on, it was working with a company called Young Living. Now, a few of you may know this company. They make essential oils. Yes, I know. I wouldn't go into how we got into that whole thing. But the attraction really for me was that they promised they'll teach me how to do digital marketing. I knew nothing about essential oils. I was like, heck, I'm gonna learn what it is. I mean, people are using and they're not dead, right? But the reason that I moved away from that was I realized every sale that I made me $50, right? So for the goals I was going to try to achieve, I'll need to make a lot of sales to get to the kind of goals that I wanted to get to. And I was like, that's a lot of work. Okay. So thinking about the kind of returns that the thing has the potential for generating has to be on your mind, that as a physician, you should really consider. Because listen, if I go to do locums right now, okay, as a pediatric anesthesiologist, I could, depending on where I end up getting, I could make, $450 to $500 an hour. Okay. So when I'm doing anything right now, I need to be asking myself, is this better? Is the time I'm spending on this better than my $450 to $500 an hour that I could be earning doing this? And that is why, I wouldn't spend my time on something that will give me $5. There are things that I just wouldn't do because they will not be an efficient and effective use of my time, particularly knowing the skills that I have developed over the years on selling and branding and building and all of that. No. Okay. And I would dare say the same, that as you're thinking about your next income stream, think big. This is the point where I totally go out and say, you don't need to fill out any surveys. Okay? Did I say it out loud? Yes, I did. Okay? You don't need any $5 surveys. Your time is way more valuable than that. Your time is way more valuable than a $5, $20 survey. Please. Please. Please don't do that. Okay? If you learn to package yourself, if you just come to terms with who you are, okay? As a physician, you've got letters. And this is not a thing of pride, okay? We're not even talking about pride. I'm not saying like don't feel like anything is beneath you, because you still have to learn. Like, you're going to have to come down to learn the basic skills. But what I'm saying is that even as you are right now, you don't need to fill out surveys. You don't need to fill out surveys for money. No. No. I'm totally against that. And I've never even seen how much they pay. I just know that the circles that I hear people talking about surveys, it's like itty bitty money. No, don't do it. All right, let's get back here. And then, okay, so how do you pick? We talked about identifying your goal. We've mentioned identifying your current skills, okay? Okay, so even about the current skills part. So I mentioned medicine, but you may have other skills. Like in my case, after a few years, real estate became a skill that I could then monetize using my coaching, right? And then I mentioned longevity. Like, how long are you willing to learn this thing, to invest in this thing, so that you know? By the way, if you're hopping on, say hi, so that how I know that you're here. And then so now the last one that I will say about how you pick your next income stream is urgency. Okay? So let's get real here. Sometimes you need capital. Okay? Sometimes you need money like yesterday. Sometimes you have a need that comes up and you're like, okay, what can I do to generate $10,000? Well, I can tell you one thing you can't do. You probably can't go buy a house and think of flipping it if you had to generate $10,000 in the next 3 weeks. Flipping a house is not on the table, okay? Because you have to buy the house, fix the house, do all that, that's just not, right? You probably, if you need $10,000 in the next 3 weeks, you probably wouldn't be selling, I don't know, Neora or something, right? I love Neora, by the way. I love Neora, because let's say you sold their initial package of, $1,000, you make $250. To get $10,000, you need 40 people to sign up for that. That's a lot if you're starting from scratch, okay? So urgency, how quickly do you need the money? Now, if we're talking, you know what, I'm good, I'm just looking for long-term, build over time, long-term wealth type thing, then yes, the real estate comes in, the short-term rentals come in, just name all the things, right? Even acquiring a business comes in, right? These are all the options that open up to you when the urgency is not like in your neck, okay? If you're talking, I need cash now, I need cash in the next few days, girl, you better whip up an offer. Teach somebody something. Let somebody pay you for something. Create a service. Make an offer, right? Post something that they can help somebody with. Hi, Nikki. And this is why this group exists. This is why I'm spending the time talking about this now, because the day you need $10,000 in 3 weeks is not the day to go start learning new skills. It's not the day to start building the platform. It's not the day to start learn, because I can tell you, when you need money real quick, that desperation seeps into what you're doing, and you don't want desperation in your marketing. Nah, you don't need that. You don't need that at all, okay? So the time to plan for when there's an urgent need is when there is no urgent need. And that is part of why what we do almost sounds like we're being, clanging cymbals, and we're just saying things over and over again. Hey, Omegi, how are you? Good to see you. Hi, Nikki as well. So the time to work on the thing that will serve you during that time of urgency is when there is nothing urgent at all on the radar. Now. When there is nothing urgent at all on the radar. Okay? Because it is the work. Remember how I referred to the farmer talking about passive income, and I said farmers? The farmer doesn't wait until 3 weeks before harvest before he plants. He plants almost a year in advance, and then when the harvest comes, it's right on time. Okay? So when you put in your mind that all the things you're doing right now are sowing, it's planting, it's preparing for a day that you may not even know exists, right? That's when it all makes sense. And now this is the second reason. This is the urgency of the now, okay? The urgency of the now is that the way I see medicine going, there's urgency ahead. Okay? There's urgency ahead, and that is why I take out time. I mean, my kids are downstairs. I'm on vacation this week. I don't have to do, you know what I'm saying? But there's an urgency right now for physicians who feel that all they have is medicine. Because let me tell you, we had the Multiple Streams Summit a few days ago, last week. One of the things that sort of slipped out, I don't know if anybody was there, but if you caught it, I caught it in the chat. Somebody mentioned that part of the initiatives underway right now is how to improve health outcomes using AI. Let me tell you what that means. This means that the actual government is looking for ways to reduce the dependence. And they're not putting it exactly this way, but this is going to be an unintended outcome. Reduce dependence on physicians. Okay? We don't want people sick. We want people healthy. So let's get that out of the way. But what I'm saying is that with AI, the way AI is going, everybody needs to upskill. Okay? So if you have never thought about your income streams, if you had never thought about new skills you can acquire in 2025, now is the time. Yes. Yep, Nikki, exactly. It is real. Now, some people will say, but you can't replace the physician touch. I know, but they will keep a few physicians to do that touch. They're going to keep a few supervising physicians. Guess what exactly that means? That means liability carriers. Okay? So every single one of us needs to be thinking about how we can upskill to the point where, hear this, we own the building. And by building, I don't mean real estate, because that's great, but we own the enterprise. Let us be the ones in this group. Let us be the ones owning the practices, owning the businesses, name the things that will ultimately serve us and serve our community when these transitions happen. Because guess what? They are already happening. They are already happening. Already. AI is one of the biggest things that has happened since the internet. And I can tell you, anybody who is sleeping on it right now is in a good nap. I'm going to need you to wake up. I'm going to need you to absolutely wake up. If you are a surgeon and you think, oh, I am protected because they will need a doctor to cut, you better wake up. Wake absolutely up, because I'm just going to say it. Just wake up. Everybody wake up. But the good thing is we're smart people, okay? Upskilling is our forte. We upskilled when we got into medical school. Upskilling, it took us 4 years, but we went from blank undergrad to intern to senior. Can you picture the change that happened between when you were an intern to when you were a senior? That is called massive upskilling. So now you've already done it before. What I'm calling you to do this evening is to plan to do it again. Because the time to do that is now. The time to start to sow those seeds, to start to learn those new skills, to start to get good at something is now. What are some common things that you should think of getting good at now? Not knowing what's coming, right? Not knowing what's coming. Just some common things you should get good at now. Number 1, speaking. Okay? Because whatever it is you find to do, you're going to need to say it somewhere to someone. And when you can learn to use your words to command crowds and command attention, you can get paid. Number 2, selling. Selling, okay? Oh, look at that. I didn't even know this had it, right? Number 2, selling. Selling is not a dirty word, okay? I learned selling. I learned to sell from Dani Johnson. Dani Johnson, D-A-N-I, Johnson, right? I learned to sell from Dani Johnson. She has very methodical, it's a very, person-based approach where you literally think about the person in front of you, you choose to serve them, and in the process of serving them, you may just make a sale. Okay, you may just make, it's just amazing how it happens. Okay, but you need to learn how to sell. So number one, to learn how to speak. Think about, frameworks for speaking. I'll give you a very quick framework for speaking. Number one, open up with a story, something engaging, something that actually connects you with the people. Number two, tell the people what you're going to tell them, then tell them the thing, and then wrap it up with either a call to action or, some kind of call to action that basically tells them what to do next to continue with you. Okay, that's speaking. Selling, number one, get interested with the person in front of you. Learn about them. Know what their needs are. Until you have learned what their needs are, you cannot sell, because you can't sell to what you can't solve a problem that you don't know about. You can't solve a problem that you don't know about. So when you hear their problem, then that thing that you have to offer, if it fits into solving their problem, you can now tell them how it fits into solving their problem, and now you have a customer. Okay? So I said number one, skill, speaking. Number two, skill, selling. What is number three? Well, number three will, of course, be amplifying it. So amplifying it, I'm using real estate and any of the other, investment strategies, because you have to do those things as well. All right, let's now move on to the pitfalls, okay? Because I promised that I'll talk about pitfalls as well. So in the last few years of building our business, of building our portfolio, growing kids and all of that, what are some pitfalls that I've come across either personally or that I've seen people do that have made them crash? Number one is having a false expectation. And I usually see this in the form of, people coming in and sort of thinking that it's going to happen overnight. That's usually the most common thing that I see. So when it doesn't happen overnight, they give up. They throw in the towel. They're like, this sucks. I can't do this. I suck at this. All the things, right? Setting the expectation, having the right expectation, it could take you 4 years. Now, I say that laughing, right? Because people don't talk about that, right? But the fact is, in your first year, you may have some rapid success in the first year. Amazing if that happens, right? Or you may struggle in the first year. But the thing is, every year, every day that you stay on it, consistent, like a dog on a bone, right, is one more day that you're building your skills. And just like the bamboo, it goes from like, you don't see it, you don't see it, you don't see it, to boom. Okay? So those first few years, it may feel like nothing is working. It may feel like, who's even listening to this podcast, right? It may feel that way. But if you can keep at it, right? Somehow, when that breakthrough happens, it can happen fairly quickly. Now, when I say 4 years, I'm not saying that if something good happens on year 2, that you push it aside and sabotage. No, that's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying if you set your expectation that, even if it takes me 5 years, I want to do this thing, then you're in the right place, because then it may not take that long. Does that make sense? Okay. Number 2, pitfalls that I've found. Restlessness, okay? Getting bored. One of the biggest things for entrepreneurs is boredom, okay? Something is working, it's steady, but it just gets boring. You're like, I need something new. I need to make this more interesting. This isn't working. One of the things that I found that characterizes the most successful entrepreneurs that I have seen is they are brilliant with the basics. And they're talking basics. Like basics that you're like, we've done this already. Let's move on to the more fancy things. Let's move on to AI. Even with AI, you need the basics, okay? So get ready to be bored with the basics. Take that back. Get ready to be brilliant with the basics and just stick with the basics in and out. In and out. If you can just settle it in your heart that you're going to stick to the basics and just be consistent with the basics. Now, what are the basics? Number one is showing up. So if you're going to do any of this entrepreneur stuff online, particularly if you're going to use social media as your main outlet, one of the very basic things is just showing up. By showing up, I mean, let's say you're like a Facebook person like I am. Like, I pick one platform. If you go on Instagram and you see me there, it's just because there's a button on Facebook that says when I post on Facebook, let it go to Instagram. That's the only reason I don't even know how to post on Instagram. Like, it's not even a thing for me, okay? TikTok, forget it. I don't even know where my login is for TikTok, right? You can literally pick one platform and make that your hub, and those that will find you there will find you there, okay? So number one is picking one platform. Number two is on that restlessness piece is where I am actually, is getting clear on one message. And with that one message, be comfortable saying it over and over and over and over. And it's funny that as I look at what I'm doing right now, I realize I have been saying this since 2019. It's the same message. It's the message that you need to build your own thing. And whether I have pushed it in the form of real estate or short-term rental or whatever I'm doing, it is still the same message. And it will get boring, but it's only to you, because the next piece on that is that you need to find new people to talk to. So you're going to have the same message over time. You will be bored with it, but as long as you're constantly finding new people to talk to, you should be in good shape, okay? So don't get restless and try to change the message. Don't get restless and try to change something that is working just because you are bored. Restlessness is the one thing that I find just dunks people. All right, number 3 pitfall, too rapid growth. Now, this one, I was very careful writing it down because it's not quite what it sounds like. What I mean here is rapid growth at all costs. You don't want rapid growth at all costs, okay? You want to grow rapidly. Like when that happens in the natural course of things, that's okay. Just make sure that you have built a solid foundation to carry the growth. Because if the foundation is not built to carry the growth, when that growth happens, it causes a bit of a crash. And it's not pretty when things crash at all, okay? Oh, the 4th thing that I wrote here as a possible pitfall is thinking, I can do it myself. I can do it myself not only costs you money, it costs you time. And your precious asset is really your time. Okay? Most of the things that you see people doing on out here, yes, you could probably figure it out yourself if you had, 5, 6, 7, 8 years. But if you simply chose to work with someone who has already done it, like a few days ago, actually, I'm learning how to build, AI chatbots and things like that. And if you watch enough YouTube videos, you can figure this stuff out. But honestly, ain't got time for that, right? I basically just signed up for a guy's course and he gave me the thing. And I just copy, do. And I almost have a full chatbot already built out. Okay, so I'm basically saying, as you are on this Facebook group, you're going to see people post about their events, their things, their courses, their things. Don't get mad. Don't be like people on those, don't quote me out of this space, okay? But there are some spaces where people bash those who are teaching courses. And that is about the most ignorant bashing that you can have. Because guess what? People don't have to teach you what they know. I'm going to tell you a quick story. Was it last night or so? Somebody sent me a text and she said, I see you're not talking that much about short-term rentals anymore. I don't know if you're doing them any further. And I chuckled to myself. I was like, I was teaching it all the way up to last year. I just decided to stop talking about it. I'm still doing it. I mean, I went to our short-term rental today. Our short-term rentals are still making money, but I don't have to teach it, right? So don't be out there bashing people that are teaching courses. They don't have to teach it. It's for your own good. If you don't need it, move on. But the point that I'm making there is save yourself time, okay? Save yourself energy. Just pay whatever money it is that people are asking you to pay. and save yourself the mistakes. Okay? Save yourself the error, the trial and error that you could easily learn by simply asking someone one question. 2023, I was about to do a deal because we've been looking at buying businesses. I had a business that I was going to buy. In fact, we were already under letter of intent and like under contract, right? And the business looked great. And so I was in the middle of due diligence, and actually, who's teaching chatbot? You can find me after cast. So I lost my train of thought. So I was about to do this deal, and we were in the middle of due diligence. I'd already paid $28,000 for due diligence on this business. And my accountant and attorney came back and they said, there's something here that we need to not, like, we can't go forward with this. And I'm like, what? No, it's such a small thing. Like, are you for real? Like, I just spent $28,000 and you're telling me that this is not a deal? So I reached out to a guy whose course I had not signed up before, okay? As in, he had offered the course before. I had tried to sign up. Anyway, long story short, I reached out to him. And in less than 1 minute, he heard about the deal. And he was like, yeah, on to the next one. I was like, what? Like, less than 1 minute. Less than 1 minute. I mean, not 1 minute. Like, it was barely a 5-minute conversation. And he told me, yeah, on to the next one. Okay? So I could have saved myself that $28,000 down the, drain by simply having this person in my corner to ask the question. Okay? So you're going to see people post about their events. You see people post about what they're offering. If it's something that you want to learn, reach out to them, ask them for consultations, pay them for their time, right? Let it just get into the mindset that, like, you know what? I am going to get a return for every dollar that I pay to anybody to teach me something. Okay? That should be the mindset. Okay. So I've gone over our journey. I've gone over how you pick. You guys can type your questions in the chat, by the way. I see there's still a few of you left here. Now the next thing is now, is it worth it? Right? Because when we talk about multiple streams of income, sometimes out there in the internet streets, people make it seem like, once you flick this button, money comes raining down. And then you're wondering, but I'm out here, slaving it away, coming to work all the time. And people are out there, dancing on TikTok and making money. And so the first thing that I like to say on this, as we kind of wrap this up is it worth it? Absolutely. Absolutely. Is it work? Absolutely. Is it work? Yes. Is it worth it? Absolutely. Because there is something about knowing that you are building a skill that can allow you write your own payday. Okay? That is priceless. That is completely priceless. This Saturday, not Saturday. So a few years ago, I returned to work after having my third baby, and I had to go part-time. I was building my business. My baby was still a few months old, and it was just a lot. But just knowing that I could cut back was amazing. Knowing that I had the skills to build my own income was amazing. And for about 2 years, actually, my non-clinical income surpassed my clinical income because I was part-time. Okay. I ended up going back full-time because the need arose, and heck, I could make more money just by showing up at work. Okay. So it's one of these things where, like, it's not a pie in the sky. Like, we don't host these things to make you feel that, you just push a button and let me sell you something. And when you buy this one thing, your life is going to be transformed. It's an entire journey. It's an entire movement. It's an entire just like freedom that is completely worth it. And would I do it again? Heck, absolutely. Yeah. Heck yeah. I will absolutely do it again. So anyway, this Saturday, I'm going to be hosting the Back End in a Weekend session. What the purpose of this session is to help those of you who are just getting started maybe you're building out a personal brand. Maybe you're just starting to like think about ideas of what you could coach about. Just start to build your email list. Start to sort of build these like digital assets that will ultimately make up the backbone of your business. And for me, that's having an email list. That is being able to, reach out to people when I need them to. Like I had this tonight, and I told Victoria to help me send an email to the list to tell them that this was happening. Hopefully you got a reminder. But that's really how it starts. It's based on just simple back end. Oh, nice. Okay. Alara, yes, there will be a replay. Yep. Alara, are you asking about the about this that I'm doing right now, or about the Saturday stuff? Yeah, so on Saturday we'll be meeting. It will be from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern. And what we'll be doing there will basically be creating those digital assets that you can use to start to create a back office for whatever message it will be that you want to be, teaching about, coaching about, launching about. If you're raising capital for real estate, that will also be pretty helpful. If you have a course, if you're a consultant, if you want to be a consultant, and I'll be giving you all the disclaimers when we get on there, because I don't want people to have a false idea. Again, as you're here, I don't need to paint you a picture, okay? I don't need to paint you any picture right now. But that's going to be on Saturday, April 26th. And the link is going to be down below. It is, and for those of you on the replay, it's going to be savvydocevents with an S.com, savvydocevents.com/backend in the weekend. And the in the weekend has hyphens. I don't know why my team put the dash. Back end in a weekend session. That's going to be this Saturday. Anyway, I hope you guys found this valuable. I know we kind of ran for, a little while, but I really would like you to type your ahas in the comments. I'd like to kind of see what they are. If you have any questions, post them right now while I'm still here. But my goal here is to sort of just like hopefully awaken something in you that decides to go for it, that decides to build that thing that is yours, that decides to actually just like, glow in your brilliance and give the world that thing that is in you that up to this point we may not have seen yet, but we're all looking forward to seeing. Okay. If there are any questions, post them and I'll be around to answer them. But let me see. See if I'm missing anything. It just says 6. All right. So I will see you all tonight. Sometime else on the group. Take care.